On the edge of the Great Desert, amidst the sands that for centuries have hidden the traces of ancient empires, stands more than just a temple. Right into the body of the rock are carved giant figures whose gazes pierce eternity. It's not just a monument, it's a defiance of time, tucked into the heart of Egypt. Colossi that have survived earthquakes, wars, and migrations. A temple that had to be saved from extinction by cutting it up and rebuilding it, as if the earth itself was trying to hide it. Among the shadows inside are the halls where the sun appears only twice a year, illuminating the face of one and leaving the other in darkness. You are on the Chronicles of Time channel, and today you'll find out: why did the priests insist that the light penetrate only twice a year? What hides who the light does not touch in the sanctuary? Who carved statues in rock, for glory or forbidden? How did the Egyptians achieve astronomical accuracy without instruments? Is there something hidden in the halls of Abu Simbel that should have disappeared? Why was the temple endangered, as if nature were taking revenge? Sit back, it's gonna be interesting. Abu Simbel is a grandiose rock temple carved in the 13th century BC in the south of ancient Egypt, near the border with modern Sudan. It was built by order of Pharaoh Ramses II in about 1264 BC. The temple was designed as a symbol of Pharaoh's power and as a means of instilling fear in the peoples of Nubia. The complex consists of two temples. The main one is dedicated to Ramses II himself, the second one to his favorite wife Nefertari and the goddess Hathor. The temple is carved directly in the rock. The facade is decorated with 4 giant statues of the pharaoh about 20 meters high. The main miracle of Abu Simbel is that twice a year, on February 22nd and October 22nd, the rays of the sun illuminate the statues in the depths of the temple, except for one, the god Ptah, associated with darkness. In the 20th century, due to the construction of the Aswan Dam, the entire temple was cut down and moved to a higher place so as not to be flooded. It was one of the most impressive archaeological salvages in history. The giant statues, carved directly into the rock, are impressive not only for their size, but also for the intention with which they were created. 4 colossi depicting Ramses II seem to guard the entrance to the underground sanctuary. Their faces are calm and all-seeing, as if they knew more than the Egyptian priests said. According to one version, this is simply an act of glorification of the pharaoh, a thirst for immortal fame. But one only needs to enter the temple to wonder, why is the layout so precise? Why do the sun's rays illuminate only certain figures twice a year? The depths of the Abu Simbel temple conceal not only architectural precision, but also profound mysticism. Twice a year, when the sun rises at a certain point on the horizon, its rays pass through a long, dark passageway and illuminate the inner sanctuary. This is not a coincidence, but the result of the knowledge possessed by ancient architects. Priests believed that on these days, the gods awakened from their slumber. These were sacred moments when the energy of the heavens connected with the earth, strengthening the divine presence. Perhaps it was then that the ruler of Egypt received a sign from above, confirmation of his power. Or perhaps it was at these moments that rituals began, the meaning of which has long been lost. The light penetrating through the thickness of the stone was not just a physical phenomenon for them, it was a message from the gods. Without telescopes, modern calculations, or GPS, the ancient Egyptians still managed to build their temples and statues with remarkable precision, aligning them with the movements of the celestial bodies. How did they do it? The answer may lie in centuries of observation. Egyptian priests and architects studied the path of the sun, stars, and planets for generations, noting their cycles on the horizon and recording even the slightest deviations in shadows. They built gnomons, simple pillars for determining time and direction, and created stone landmarks, checking them against the position of the sun on the days of the equinoxes and solstices. But was this enough to carve the rock so that the sun's rays would penetrate the temple on specific dates? Or was there something more behind it? Knowledge that has not been passed down to us? Perhaps they used secrets that were only passed on to the initiated and which are still kept among the mysteries of ancient Egypt. Deep inside the rock temple of Abu Simbel, carved with astonishing precision directly into the sheer rock face, there is a sense of mystery that lingers even after your eyes adjust to the dim light. Here, behind the massive statues of Ramses II, behind the rows of columns and scenes of triumph, another level of perception begins, not visual, but internal. A strange feeling arises, as if the walls know more than they reveal. According to ancient beliefs, the temple was not only a tribute to the pharaoh's greatness, but also a repository of sacred knowledge lost in time. Legends say that in one of the halls there may have been an object or scroll whose contents were so dangerous or powerful that it was decided to hide it from future ages. It was either destroyed or erased in the bas-reliefs, leaving only fragments of hints in the symbols. Perhaps it was related to rituals that were already considered forbidden in ancient times. One thing is certain: the temple is oriented with precision so that twice a year the sun's rays penetrate deep into the sanctuary, illuminating only certain figures. Is this a coincidence or a carefully planned message? Who or what was supposed to appear in these moments of light, and why? Some researchers even suggest that such solar flares could activate something hidden, or, conversely, remind us that these walls once held something that was supposed to disappear. And perhaps it did disappear, but not completely. Abu Simbel stood in silent solitude for centuries, guarding the banks of the Nile. But in the 20th century, it faced a threat that neither stone guardians nor spirits of the past could stop. When Egypt decided to build the Aswan Dam, the waters of the Nile were set to rise and engulf everything in their path, including the temple carved into the rock during the reign of Ramses II. It was as if nature itself had decided to reclaim the land that had been taken from it by humans thousands of years ago. The temple was on the verge of disappearing. The water rose slowly but inexorably, as if an ancient prophecy was beginning to come true. Some said that this was retribution for invading sacred lands, that the spirits of the past would not forgive the destruction of the great shrine. Only an incredible international rescue effort, a UNESCO operation in which engineers from around the world literally cut the temple into blocks and moved it higher up the cliff, saved Abu Simbel from destruction. But the question still hangs in the air. Was it really just a coincidence? Or was nature itself trying to erase what had once been carved against its will? Abu Simbel is not just a temple, but a scar on the body of the desert, carved by the hands of those who knew more than we are allowed to understand. The stone here breathes, and the silence in its halls is louder than any story. It stands as a symbol of will, craftsmanship, and something inexpressible. It has survived destruction, relocation, and the whims of nature, and remains as if the stone itself refused to forget. Its story is not over, and perhaps it is only just beginning. Don't forget to subscribe and like. See you soon.